Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are tearing into a massive stack of sources that tracks one of the most, well, unexpected and frankly heartbreaking trajectories in modern reality television history. The journey of Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson.
Indeed. Alana Thompson is, a generational pop culture figure. She bursts into the public consciousness at just 5 years old, writing this really iconic catchphrase, straight to mass fame.
A dollar makes me holla.
Exactly. That life, documented first on Toddlers and Tiaras, and then, of course, the cultural phenomenon, Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, has now been distilled into a lifetime biopic. It's called I Was Honey Boo Boo, and it premiered back in May 2025.
And the sources we have here, they compile Alana's own reflections from recent interviews, family accounts too, and they give us this staggering, really detailed view of the extreme price of that fame. So our mission here is to move past the caricature, and truly understand Thompson's path from viral child star to the 19-year-old college student she is today.
Yeah, we're looking for the truth behind those, quote, forced smiles, the silent trauma, the profound financial betrayal, and maybe most importantly, her determined effort to break these massive, multi-generational cycles of dysfunction and, frankly, celebrity exploitation.
The big picture, for you the listener, is really Alana's quest for a future that is entirely self-made, completely independent of the celebrity machine that created her in the first place.
Right. She isn't just seeking a degree. She's actually aiming to be the first in her immediate family to get a college degree. And she's openly using the profound struggles she lived through, both publicly and privately, as fuel, really, for her next chapter, her professional chapter.
It's a story of resilience, isn't it? Much deeper and more complex than any pageant tiara or, viral catchphrase could ever suggest.
Absolutely.
So let's start right at the beginning with the persona itself.
Yeah.
How does Honey Boo Boo even happen? Because that name, that energy, it just stuck instantly.
It really did. And it's a classic case of unscripted lightning striking.
Yeah.
According to Alana herself, that famous line was completely spontaneous.
Really?
Yeah. She was sitting for an interview probably during the peak of her Toddlers and Tiaras time, and she just blurted out, "A dollar made me holla, honey boo child."
Just like that.
Just like that. She insists she pulled it off the top of my head. The producers, of course, loved the cadence. The honey boo stuck immediately. And that phrase just cemented her initial persona, which, let's be honest, was already highly unusual for the pageant scene.
Right. And what's consistently fascinating in her reflection, looking back, is that unlike maybe many children thrust into that kind of public scrutiny, Alana maintains she genuinely loved being in the spotlight at the start.
She did. She's been very explicit about that. She loved being in front of the camera. She loved doing the pageants and really doing anything that let her make people laugh. She said pageants were right up my alley.
Yeah.
And she openly admitted she loved being the center of attention. So that love for performance, it gave her early fame a foundation of, well, genuine enthusiasm, which is actually quite rare.
But that enthusiasm, it was paired pretty much immediately with this commitment to authenticity that kind of became the family's defining trademark, right? Separated them from the super polished world of beauty pageants.
Exactly. Their fame was built on their willingness to be raw, unvarnished. Alana explicitly says she never wanted to be fake or, get all dressed up just for the camera. She'd say things like, "Girl, I'm in my PJs. I don't even care." She genuinely believes she's been completely authentic from the start of Here Comes Honey Boo Boo right up to today, refusing to compromise her true self for the cameras.
That consistency, huh? Her willingness to just show up as she was, maybe the only stable element in her whole life story.
It might be. And that stability, initially anyway, was reflected in the family dynamic itself. Alana remembers it being really tight-knit before the cameras became this constant fixture.
Okay, so what was it like before?
Alana recalls that before the massive fame truly hit, the family was really close. She specifically mentioned her mother, June, had what she called an open door policy.
An open door policy.
Yeah, meaning the children could come to her, tell her anything, apparently without fear of judgment. It was, a unit that communicated openly. It was only after their lives became this televised spectacle, Alana suggests, that the cameras affected us a little bit, opening the door to the dysfunction we all saw later.
It paints this picture of a close family, but one that was already navigating some complexity, right? Particularly with the different fathers involved. And Alana felt an early kind of profound fracture linked to her own biological father.
Yeah, that's a critical piece of context that often gets missed, I think. Alana noted that her biological father's departure impacted her really severely because, well, he wasn't the father of her other sisters.
Okay.
So they didn't have the same connection. When he left, it didn't affect them in quite the same way. But for Alana, the loss was huge because they had this very close daily relationship.
She remembers specifics.
Oh, yeah. She recalls specific warm memories, like how he'd come home from work and they'd immediately go outside in the yard or just spend quality time together. That early closeness made his absence, even before the big fame, a major formative impact on her life.
And when we look at the sister dynamic, that structure sort of becomes the first line of defense against the chaos that's coming, doesn't it? You've got Anna, Jessica, Lauren, Pumpkin, and Alana, all with different age gaps and relationships.
Right, and the sources clarify these relationships really nicely, showing why certain bonds endured while others were maybe more distant. Anna, Chickadee, she was the oldest, but she lived far away in Alabama. So Alana says they weren't super close just because she didn't come home that often.
Okay.
Then Jessica, Chubbs, she was in high school, naturally kind of preoccupied, always out with friends. Alana notes that Jessica simply didn't really care to hang out with her little sister, who was only in like 3rd grade at the time.
Understandable, I guess, from a teen's perspective.
Yeah, totally. So it's the relationship with Lauren, Pumpkin, that really stands out as the eventual anchor.
Right, the closest in age.
Absolutely. Alana and Pumpkin are the closest in age, and Alana believes this is precisely why they are, and always have been, the most bonded. While she says she had a good relationship with all her sisters, Pumpkin was the one who was always right there by her side.
A foundational relationship.
Definitely. And it certainly explains why Pumpkin eventually stepped up to gain legal custody of Alana, essentially becoming her primary guardian during the absolute worst of the family's troubles.
But that family structure, even with Pumpkin there, it starts to buckle when the fame really escalates, right? Alana observed a very noticeable shift in Mama June's demeanor and priorities once they became, overwhelmingly famous.
Yeah, this is where we see that sudden wealth and fame effect really kick in hard. Alana observed June acquiring this very specific and kind of dangerous mindset. June started believing, oh, like we made it, and thinking they didn't need to do anything else because they were on TV now. Alana felt deeply that June should never have had that sense of complacency, that the fame was somehow the end goal rather than, a stepping stone or an opportunity.
What's the analysis behind that observation, though? Was it just simple complacency, or did Alana detect something maybe darker?
Alana's speculation goes a bit deeper. She felt the mindset shift might have been caused by jealousy, or at least resentment, perhaps over Alana making all the money.
Ah, the golden goose theory.
Pretty much. This is the first seed, really, of that transactional behavior. The daughter is the golden goose, and the mother is reacting to the secondary role she's suddenly been assigned by the industry. It transforms the family dynamic from what was supposedly a close unit into more of a business venture, even if it was subconscious at first. The sources really stress that this mental shift was the precursor, the setup for the massive betrayal that followed.
And that shift, it sets the stage for the most traumatic period of their story. Mama June's complete descent into addiction. Alana was clearly aware that something was off long before the addiction became public knowledge.
She absolutely was. She couldn't pinpoint the exact day she realized her mother was using drugs, but she just noticed this pervasive feeling that something was off.
Just a gut feeling.
Yeah, and more tellingly, she started hearing whispers, people around her saying things like, June's not acting right, or June's being different. And for a child, that dissonance, what they see versus what they hear, it's deeply unsettling.
And sources confirm there was one particular moment, a physical change in their home, that served as a terrible, silent confirmation for Alana.
The locked doors. Yeah, the small detail is incredibly poignant and just devastating when you think about it from a kid's perspective. Alana found it profoundly weird when her mother first started locking her bedroom door.
Because she never used to.
Exactly. June had never locked your door before, despite that supposed open-door policy from the past. This was quickly followed by June locking the bathroom door too, creating these two immediate physical barriers between June and her children.
Wow.
For Alana, she felt that when the door started locking, it was kind of like confirmation of her suspicions, confirmation that her mother was hiding something dangerous and separating herself from the family unit.
That detail. The sudden need for physical separation within the home. That's such a terrifying indicator for any child. That's not just privacy. That's like a fortress being built against her own daughter.
It really is.
So how did that confrontation, when it finally happened, how did it play out?
Well, it was Startlingly honest, in a way, but ultimately really unsatisfying for Alana. When the daughters eventually confronted June about the drug use, June didn't lie. She admitted she was using drugs.
Okay, so she admitted it.
She did, but she immediately offered what Alana felt was just an excuse, rather than a real explanation for her behavior. June simply stated that she had done them when I was in high school or when I was younger, basically framing it as just reverting to old ways.
So she minimized it, positioned it as a lapse maybe, rather than a full-blown current crisis.
Precisely. It was a failure to take accountability, or seek immediate help. Alana felt it was merely an excuse for why she was using, rather than an admission that she needed to address the root cause of her profound substance abuse. And that denial, that minimization, just prolonged the suffering for everyone involved.
That period also coincides with June's really highly publicized and dramatic physical transformation, right? That was the centerpiece of her next reality show, Mama June. From not to hot. Alana's memory of this time, it reveals the immense psychological toll it took on her, particularly around self-image.
Oh, the physical change was shocking. June underwent gastric sleeve surgery, reportedly spent around $75,000 on multiple procedures, things like removing nearly 9 pounds of excess skin from her stomach, a chest lift, arm lift.
$75,000.
Right. Yeah. Alana recalls the visual shock. She estimated her mother went from being around 300 pounds down to what looked like maybe 100 pounds, a transformation so severe that Alana said June looked almost sick.
And as Alana described herself as a bigger girl, seeing her mother's desperate need to shrink down, that had a direct and significant impact on her own self-esteem, didn't it?
Absolutely devastating impact. Alana completely internalized her mother's actions. She started asking herself things like, am I going to have to do that one day because I'm a bigger girl? Am I going to have to be in this perfect picture and just get surgery so I'm like this skinny little model?
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It really is. That intense focus on extreme, costly weight loss by her mother essentially transferred June's own body image anxiety directly onto her developing child. It basically taught Alana that her natural body was somehow unacceptable and required this massive financial intervention to be worthy. It's such a powerful illustration of the invisible costs of public scrutiny on these reality TV families.
So, if the descent into addiction was the ongoing trauma, Alana has stated pretty clearly that the financial betrayal was the final, devastating breaking point. She felt like June took it that far after 18 years of continuous family dysfunction.
Yeah, she saw it as the ultimate line crossed. And the financial conflict, it's complicated because it seems to span different phases of Alana's career. When she's asked about her earnings from that first big wave of fame, Here Comes Honey Boo Boo or Toddlers and Tiaras, Alana is just blunt.
What did she say?
She claims she has never received any earnings from those shows, saying she has never even heard of the money.
Never heard of it. How is that possible?
It suggests a total breakdown in any financial safeguards that should have been in place for her early childhood work. A complete lack of oversight or protection.
That's just a staggering claim, given the massive popularity and, let's face it, profitability of those shows. But the most highly publicized dispute, the one that really blew up, centers on her 2018 appearance on Dancing with the Stars Juniors.
Correct. This is where the money was highly specific and, crucially, trackable. Alana claims June withdrew $35,000 from her account, leaving only $10,000 behind. She flat out accused her mother of taking that missing $35,000 of her DWTS earnings.
And this played out publicly.
Oh, yeah. Alana and Pumpkin confronted June about it on camera. It was a major storyline.
Now, in the U.S., there are specific legal frameworks, right? People talk about Coogan laws or variations of them, designed specifically to protect child actors' earnings. Was June supposed to be putting this money into one of those protected trust accounts?
Yes, exactly. That's the whole point of those laws.
Yeah.
In the entertainment industry, when a minor earns income, a certain percentage, often it's 15%, is legally required to be set aside into a blocked trust account, often called a Coogan account. The child can only access it once they turn 18 or reach the age of majority.
Okay.
This mechanism is designed explicitly to prevent parental mismanagement or, well, theft. And interestingly, June's own counterclaim suggests she was at least aware of this concept.
So how did June defend the disappearance of the funds then? What was her story?
Well, June insisted she did follow recommendations to put the money in an account meant to protect child stars. Her defense was basically that she took the recommended 20%, which, by the way, is already slightly higher than the standard 15% often mandated.
Right.
And then she used the other 80% to take care of other things. She really tried to minimize the conflict, arguing it wasn't, hundreds of thousands of dollars in question, only about $30,000. And then she added that $33,000 is a hell of a lot more than most 18-year-olds start off with their life with.
Okay, but hold on. The very fact that she had to take care of other things with Alana's funds suggests she wasn't following the rules of her protected trust, right? That money should have been untouchable until Alana turned 18.
Exactly.
And her comparison to other 18-year-olds. It completely ignores Alana's entire life history, doesn't it?
It rings incredibly hollow. Alana's rebuttal was just direct and really powerful. She essentially said, "Mama, but I've been on TV since I was 6, and now I barely have what to show for it."
Wow.
She points out she'd been on TV her whole life, generating millions and millions of dollars in revenue for networks and, yes, for her family, yet her personal accounts were nearly empty. That quote just crystallizes the exploitation that can be inherent in child stardom, this immense labor for virtually no personal financial security.
The ultimate confirmation of the betrayal, though, the really ugly part, came from June herself regarding where the money actually went.
Yeah, she eventually admitted the stark truth. June confirmed that she spent the money on her crippling drug addiction.
She admitted it was the drugs.
Directly. She admitted spending an astronomical amount, up to $3,000 daily, on crack cocaine. She revealed that her addiction ultimately cost her nearly $1 million in total. She was clear. "It's gone. I used it in my drug addiction."
So that connects the financial theft directly to her dependency.
Absolutely. It underscores that the $35,000 wasn't necessarily stolen out of pure malice towards Alana, but out of the desperation fueled by addiction, which, of course, doesn't mitigate the betrayal for Alana one bit.
In terms of resolution, did Alana get the money back? How did that end?
The money was eventually returned. June did present Alana with a check, although Alana apparently criticized the sort of theatrical nature of the presentation. But critically, Alana noted that June never actually offered a genuine, heartfelt apology for the betrayal itself.
No apology.
Not really, according to Alana. And eventually, Alana just gave up poking and prodding for any other money she felt was still owed, simply accepting the return portion just to close that painful chapter.
What's important to note here, though, is the role Pumpkin played in trying to establish some future security for Alana.
Yes, that's the turning point, financially speaking. Alana explicitly confirms she does have all her earnings from a later project, The Masked Singer.
Okay.
And that's because it happened when she was legally under Pumpkin's custody. Pumpkin made sure the money went into the correct, protected account where June couldn't touch it.
So Pumpkin learned from June's mistakes.
Absolutely. And furthermore, Pumpkin also set up a separate college account for Alana, which Alana is now purposely letting save up, not touching it yet. This just shows how that sister bond became the necessary safeguard against the parental failure.
So after years of just intense financial and emotional dysfunction, a fragile path toward healing was possibly emerging. But it was tragedy, sadly, that ultimately forced the family's, ultimate reconciliation. We have to return briefly to the context of the family's first major public scandal back in 2014. This involved Mark McDaniel and Alana's oldest sister, Anna.
Right. That 2014 scandal was the original profound fracture that led to the cancellation of their first show, Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. TLC dropped it after it came out that June had reconnected with Mark McDaniel.
And he had a history.
A serious one. He had served time for crimes against a child under 10. And the immense layer of betrayal here is that Anna, Alana's oldest sister, had accused McDaniel of molesting her when Anna herself was only 8 years old.
And June's reaction.
June initially denied Anna's claims and maintained the relationship with McDaniel anyway. That created this deep, almost unforgivable strain between June and Anna that lasted for many, many years.
And it's the final, tragic chapter of Anna's life that changed everything, bringing the family back together in shared grief.
Yeah, it required immense pain to force that proximity again. Anna Chickadee Cardwell was diagnosed with stage 4 adrenal carcinoma in January 2023. She passed away in December 2023, just 29 years old, leaving behind 2 young daughters.
So yeah.
Incredibly young. Alana believes Anna's death definitely 100% brought the family closer together. She said it opened their eyes to the shortness of life, making them realize it can leave at any moment.
It's such a sad irony, isn't it? That it took such a devastating loss for the family to even begin rebuilding trust. That shared loss, combined with June now maintaining her sobriety, seems to have established some kind of new, fragile normal.
A new normal, yeah, built on a foundation of shared grief and, frankly, a lot of hard work, especially on June's part regarding sobriety. June has been consistently sober now for almost 3 years, since January 2020. She's married Justin Stroud in 2022.
And there are signs of actual family interaction now.
Yes, the most telling detail of their current dynamic seems to be these Sunday dinners they now apparently host with Pumpkin and her kids. Alana expresses almost disbelief, describing seeing her sister Pumpkin dropping her kids off at June's house for her to watch as insanity.
Like she can't believe it's happening.
Exactly. She says she would have never thought she would witness that level of normalcy and trust return to the family dynamic. It demonstrates a powerful, even if maybe cautious, improvement in how they function as a family unit.
This brings us to Alana today, who is actively carving out an entirely new, stable identity for herself, far away from the cameras. She's no longer just Honey Boo Boo. She is Alana Thompson, committed college student.
Yeah, this is the core of her new story, isn't it? Alana, she's 19 now, already in her second year, approaching junior year at Regis University out in Denver, Colorado.
And she's studying nursing.
Yes, majoring in nursing with a really specific goal, becoming a neonatal pediatric nurse. And her motivation is incredibly profound. She was inspired to enter the field after witnessing the compassionate and necessary impact of the nurses while she was helping care for her late sister Anna during her illness.
Wow, turning that pain into purpose. That ambition, though, it's far from easy. Nursing school requires an intense, focused work ethic, a complete contrast to the chaotic schedule of reality TV.
Oh, her commitment seems absolute. She describes her current life as basically study, study, study. She spends her time either locked in her room with a whiteboard or diligently working on campus in the library.
Focused.
Completely. And this dedication, it's fueled by this profound desire to achieve a very specific milestone. She will be the first person in her immediate family to graduate college with an actual degree. That's a fact she cites as a huge source of pride for her.
Good for her.
Yeah. She is actively rejecting that widely held belief that just because she was famous on TV means she doesn't need to pursue a real career. She insists she wants to be a nurse and do what I really want to do.
And she's building this stable life with the support of her longtime boyfriend, right, Draylon Carswell?
Yes, Draylon and Alana have been dating since 2021. And he demonstrated a pretty major commitment by actually moving to Colorado in 2023 specifically to support her college career and provide that stability.
That's significant.
It is. Alana calls him a 10 out of 10 support system, and she genuinely appreciates that he apparently never speaks ill of her mother around her, despite everything he's witnessed of the family's history.
However, this relationship is currently facing a really immense challenge, one that has the potential to derail Alana's future professional goals.
Yeah, it's a very heavy cloud hanging over her academic life right now. Sources confirm Draylon faced a severe legal issue. It involved a felony fleeing and eluding charge after a car chase.
A felony charge.
Yes, and the potential legal outcomes laid out for them are immensely stressful for any young couple trying to build a future. Apparently, the DA offered a plea deal, 5 years probation if he pleads guilty, but importantly, he would carry a felony conviction on his record for life.
And the alternative?
The alternative is going to trial, which carries the risk of 1 to 10 years in jail if he loses. But we have to pause here. A felony conviction, even one resulting only in probation, could have profound, lasting implications, especially for Alana's chosen career path in nursing.
Explain that. Why is it such a big deal for her career?
Well, this is where the sort of technical details intersect violently with her personal ambitions. If Alana pursues her goal of becoming a licensed neonatal pediatric nurse, she'll need to apply to and be accepted into advanced university nursing programs. And maybe more critically, she'll have to pass really stringent background checks required by the state nursing board to even get her license.
Ah, the background check.
Exactly. Having a close relationship with someone convicted of a felony, or even just the immense emotional stress of managing that relationship during probation or potential incarceration, places huge pressure on her ability to focus and succeed in those rigorous programs. Plus, a felony on Draylon's record could severely impact their future financial stability, their housing options near campus, his own employment prospects. It's a cascade of potential problems.
That is immense pressure for a 19-year-old just trying to establish her own life. And Alana seems fully aware of the stakes involved here.
She does. She admits she is scared about what this felony conviction could mean for their shared future and how it might ultimately derail her focus on nursing. But despite the difficulty, she is standing by him. She's quoted as saying, "If we're really going to be together, We gotta stand by each other through the hardest parts of our lives.
So it illustrates this conflict she's living with, right? She's building this stable, controlled life for herself, yet these chaotic elements from her history and relationships keep finding ways to intrude on her carefully planned future.
It's a perfect summary of her current situation.
Shipping back slightly to her long-term goals, Alana has reflected pretty deeply on her desire to be a mother one day. And she draws this direct and really poignant line back to her own childhood experience with June.
Yeah, she apparently loves being an auntie, calls it the best thing ever, and enjoys being the cool person for her nieces and nephews. She definitely sees herself as a mom, eventually.
But with a specific goal in mind.
A very specific goal, which acts as a powerful motivator for her. She wants to be the mother that her mother never was. She's very open in acknowledging the lack of a loving, nurturing mom she feels she received. Her ultimate goal in life seems to be providing that complete sense of nurturing and stability for her own children someday. It's a clear generational cycle she is absolutely determined to break.
And this desire to tell her own story, including acknowledging not receiving that nurturing parent, seems to be the driving force behind her Lifetime biopic, I Was Honey Boo Boo, which she personally narrates, right?
Yes. The intention of the film, which she essentially directs through her narration, is crucial here. The official synopsis clearly states the film aims to show the forced smiles, silent tears, and the lingering sense of uncertainty that existed behind the scenes of their supposedly happy-go-lucky reality show.
So she wanted to provide the context.
Exactly. Alana was determined to present the unvarnished truth, using her own voice, her narration, to provide the emotional context that the original reality TV cameras completely missed or ignored.
But she had to walk a very fine line, didn't she? Regarding her mother's reputation, especially now that June is sober and they're trying to reconnect, however tentatively.
A very fine line. She confirmed her intention wasn't necessarily to make June look like the bad guy. That wasn't the primary goal. However, she also stressed that she didn't hold back and emphasized over and over, it's the truth.
Just telling her truth.
Right. She hopes that viewers will watch the movie and realize, wow, Alana, there was a lot going on, thereby validating her own experience and highlighting the hidden emotional toll of her childhood.
Unsurprisingly, Mama June has offered her own counter-narrative, particularly around that accusation that her love felt transactional, especially in light of the whole financial betrayal situation.
Yes, June denies seeing her kids as just a paycheck, or that her love was entirely transactional. She tries to reframe her behavior by arguing that her love language was primarily giving gifts.
Her love language was gifts.
That's her argument. She says that's how she was taught to show affection, with money or an item.
Okay, but wait. If her self-proclaimed love language was money or an item, how does that argument hold up when she admits she stole the $35,000 that Alana earned herself? Doesn't that act make the transactional nature worse, not better? By literally taking the item back.
That's the absolute key conflict the source is present, isn't it? June's defense attempts to normalize the behavior by putting a label on it, love language. But the act of stealing from her own daughter's legally protected earnings fundamentally undermines the sincerity of that claim.
Really does.
If the only way you know how to show love is through material gifts, and you then prioritize your addiction by taking back the very thing you supposedly gave out of love, well, it seems to confirm that the transactional nature of the relationship was purely dependent on June's immediate needs and desires.
Yeah.
In fact, June even tries to flip the script entirely at points, claiming that she often felt like an ATM for her family and others throughout her life, sort of positioning herself as the exploited one in the dynamic.
It sounds like both of them are still trying to process this shared history of financial and emotional chaos, but maybe coming at it from different angles. Alana choosing accountability and June leaning more towards justification.
That feels like a perfect summation. Alana seems to be using the narrative, the biopic, as a tool for personal clarity and growth, while June might be using her narrative more as a tool for reputation management, especially now that she's back in the public eye and sober.
And that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. We've tracked Alana Thompson through the absolute height of reality TV chaos, the profound financial betrayal, the family tragedy that forced some painful change. And now, she stands determined to be a college-educated neonatal nurse, seemingly breaking that cycle of trauma.
And what's perhaps most fascinating is Alana's ultimate perspective on the cameras themselves. While she acknowledges there were definitely times she desperately wished the cameras had just gone away, especially so they could grieve privately. She ultimately expresses gratitude for them because they did open up opportunities. But more importantly, she hopes her story, showing all the chaos and the consequences, actually helps other people who have struggled with addiction in their family to not feel so alone.
Using her platform.
Exactly. She chooses to show the real part of me, she says, and the difficulties of her life, rather than promoting some glamorous, glitzy life that, for her at least, simply never existed.
It's the ultimate pivot, really transforming public exploitation into a form of public service almost. Despite the cameras enabling years of public trauma and intense family dysfunction, Alana Thompson's greatest ambition now is to use the specific, hard-won knowledge she gained through witnessing intense pain addiction, illness, financial neglect, to actively help others as a neonatal nurse. So we are left to consider, can the raw, unfiltered authenticity that first brought her fame, the very thing that made Honey Do Boo Boo a phenomenon, ultimately be the key to achieving her quiet, independent, and hopefully secure success?